All right, week 9 in the books, guys. Another great weekend of college football in 2020. Not the best year in general, but hey, we have college football. Not a ton of marquee matchups this weekend, but a lot of learning about some teams and a lot of us watching our teams. We'll start with Clemson over there. The one out-of-stater here. A little bit of a scare for y'all.
But I am from Texas originally.
I think you needed that Dos Equis after that Boston College first half massacre and then the obligatory comeback. How you feeling, man?
Um, saw some things that I liked. Saw a lot of things I didn't like. Obviously, let's get to the bad first. Our first half defense, especially our secondary, was really bad. Boston College got the ball to start off. They scored, I think, a touchdown in 4 plays. Every play was a first down, and then the fourth play was a touchdown. Um, and then the next drive we had it. We went right down the field with DJ, so he looked really good. But the first half defense was really bad, especially the secondary. They were not covering the Boston College receivers at all. They were running all over the field. What was disappointing too is that we were healthy in the secondary and we just weren't covering. That was concerning. Another area of concern was pretty much through the first 3 quarters, mostly 4 quarters. Our offensive line continues to not run block. We get hit like a yard after our running back touches the ball. So that's frustrating. It did get a little better, but I think we were just starting to wear them out. As for the good, the offense overall, DJ was fantastic. He threw for like 330 or 50 yards, something like that. Really wasn't a step down for Trevor. He threw a lot of clutch passes. I mean, he took us back from down 18, so in his first start ever, so that was pretty good. ETN had like 160 yards receiving and like only 80 yards rushing, but he became the leading, I think, rusher in the ACC history. So that was pretty impressive. But yeah, overall offense was really good. The defense didn't, I think, only gave up like 70 yards in the second half. They were fantastic. So that's pretty much my assessment. We got Notre Dame next week. We're going to have to get healthy. We're going to need our defensive lineman back for that one. I'm not totally confident that we're going to win, but we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like the freshman quarterback's good enough to lead y'all to at least compete and probably beat Notre Dame. But yeah, that defense needs to get it together for a full game. Matt, you kind of were watching the game on the corner of your eye. What were you thinking as you were seeing Clemson down? What was it, 28-10 at halftime?
No, it's 28-13. We got a field goal right before that.
28-13, still surprising. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of confirmed what I've been saying all along that once Trevor and ETN graduate, these like superpowered talents that are just great leaders and really the heartbeat of Clemson football, once they're gone, they just become a very average to good team. So if I mean DJ Ukulele looked promising, I will give him that, but clearly just a whole class below Trevor Lawrence. So if I'm Clemson, I'm really trying to get that natty this year, get Trevor Lawrence back as fast as possible because I don't know if this is like plug and play like Bama after Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. I saw a lot of weaknesses in the armor. Then again, Clemson does that a lot, and they tend to get better throughout the year. So I could be wrong, but I don't know. It's just when you see Clemson without Trevor Lawrence, it kind of changes everything, and that's why this Notre Dame game's going to be so fun. No Trevor Lawrence, so I don't know. I think Clemson. It looks like Bama might be the team to beat all of a sudden.
I'm going to have to respond to that. I know there was some trolling in there, but yeah, I don't really think a lack of Trevor Lawrence was a reason why our defense was struggling in the first half. If you watch our game, we were moving the ball up and down the field. We had like, I think, almost 500 yards total offense. And then did you see Travis Etienne just fumble the ball right to Boston College at like the 1 yard line and return it? So yeah, I don't really see Trevor Lawrence. I don't really know would he have made that big of a difference, honestly. In this one, we were fine with DJ. It was just the first half defense that was really bad. We pretty much scored, I think, on every. I think we only punted like twice. So yeah, that was a little silly, Matt. Got to
Yeah,
disagree.
I'm kind of with you there, Clemson, Matt. I think y'all are in good hands with Ungalele, or however you say it.
Ukulele.
Ukulele looks pretty promising, and there's no shortage of talent there. That's for sure. Moving on to the Texas Tech side of things. Texas Tech couldn't keep them busy. They were
Not at all.
not busy, and some might say OU was quite busy. Connor, what did you
Hold
think
on.
of the game?
Okay, we kept him busy for about one drive in the first quarter. That was about it.
Well, respect
Like
that.
we were up 7-0, I believe, and I've never like I was just like I wanted to do what you did yesterday, and I'm like I just want to pause my life where it is. We're up on OU. We're looking decent. I'm good.
Well, the possibility is there.
And then everything shit hit the fan, and we just imploded on ourselves. Our team's just not as good as OU. They just have like all these like specimens on the offensive side that were just mowing over our DBs and everyone else, and then their defense just made us like look like children. It was just not fun to watch. I honestly stopped watching it about halfway through the third quarter, and just kept getting updates via ESPN. And I was just like, every time I saw OU scored, I just took another shot. That was about all I could do.
Yeah. I mean, looks like the OU train might be rolling again. Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, Oklahoma's. I think they got Ronnie Perkins and Ramondre Stevenson back, who are like some of their best players.
Yeah, the running back.
Yeah,
that dude is a goddamn like ox back there. He is just big as shit. Like no one could tackle him. It took like 3 or 4 people to tackle him.
Yeah, so if they had those guys all season long, they're probably undefeated right now. And Spencer Rattler's only getting better and better. So,
yeah.
And the thing about OU is everybody returns next year. They're all underclassmen or juniors. So OU's getting really good, and they'll probably just go win the Big 12 title. As for Texas Tech, it's starting to look like Matt Wells might just be a bad hire. I mean, he's been there for like a year and a half now, 2 years. And it's not looking good. I've seen no progress. Texas Tech football, they usually have a good fan base. People are usually interested, but they really just like don't seem to care anymore. They're just a full-on basketball school. So I don't know. Texas Tech might need to when Texas fires Tom Herman, I think Texas Tech should go and grab Tom Herman to be their head coach.
So like I know that's supposed to be a joke, but honestly, I would take Tom Herman over Matt Wells. It's kind of like what you like. It's almost like we've taken a step back from like the Kingsbury era, because at least in like the Kingsbury era, like we would like win some big games, and like the games that we didn't win, we'd stay busy. I'm not even seeing that now. We're just getting blown out by any like somewhat decent team. And then going back to what you said about Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler, he is starting to figure everything out, and he's starting to heat up and get that like just traditional OU quarterback stat line where he's just like makes everyone look like they're children. Yeah, and it's just not looking good for the rest of the Big 12 with him, especially now that because I'm assuming Sam's gonna leave too, so he's just gonna dominate for the next 2-3 years probably.
Yeah, Rattler's he's getting his turnovers under control. No interceptions, no turnovers from OU this game. So OU looking scary.
Yeah.
The other Oklahoma school had several turnovers this last weekend. Kind of worked out in Texas's fortune there. Texas didn't play a great game. Texas didn't do a lot on offense, but that defense sure was opportunistic. Osai, he tore it up. Matt, I'm sure you were torn during this game and not really knowing what to feel, but after it's all said and done, how you feeling?
I feel nothing. We beat the number 6 team on the road, and I was just like, it happened. We got the game-sealing tackle, the sack, Joseph Osai, and I didn't know what to feel, man. This is just what Tom Herman is. He'll win these type of games, and then we'll lose to West Virginia, TCU, and I don't know. Like this does not change
almost lose to Texas Tech.
Yeah, this does not change my opinion of Texas or Tom Herman at all. If we can continue to string out wins, and I'll reevaluate Tom Herman at the end of the season. But I mean, we beat Oklahoma State, who everybody knew they were overranked. I mean, they're a good team. They're undefeated, but they were barely getting by all those Big 12 teams. So um, I'm not that impressed by it. We literally got dominated in yardage. We had so many penalties, so undisciplined. We literally lost every category except turnovers, and we had that one kick return for a touchdown is what saved us. So, I mean,
Yeah. Let me read you some of the stats of this game. They outgained y'all 530 to 287. I mean, just that alone is pretty remarkable. Y'all still pull this one out. Penalties, 13 for 142 yards. That is a Tom Herman masterpiece right there, just getting yards for the other team. They had 8 for 70, a little bit cleaner, but 5 turnovers by Oklahoma State, and that's really what pushed y'all over the edge there. And some were caused by them, and y'all forced some, but yeah, pretty sloppy game. As an Aggie, I'm pretty happy about it. We kind of want to keep Urban out of Texas as long as possible, at least to get this round of recruiting done. And because that guy can recruit a storm, and all these Longhorn fans are kind of banking on Mr. Urban to come save them. But Aggies are feeling good. Say what, Matt?
I want to comment on this game.
Go for it.
It kind of goes back to what Matt was saying and I said last video. This is who Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State is. They just can't win these big games. Anytime they're like a favorite and they have the opportunity to like maybe take control or to show that they're the big guys, they can't do it. They should have beat Texas. I mean, like statistically, they were winning.
Yeah.
On Texas's side, I thought their defense looked pretty scrappy in the second half. Sam Ellinger didn't look all that impressive, although I don't really think it was his fault. Their receivers could not get open to save their lives. Their Texas receivers look really like bad. They're like slow. They're just these big, slow guys. They can't get open. But yeah, I mean, I think winning this game doesn't really do much for Texas. I think they're just delaying the inevitable. Herman will still get fired after the end of this year, so he just saved himself for another week. I don't think it really matters in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do Texas receivers, why do they look so slow? Like they're some like the best like recruited athletes in the whole country. I don't know why they look so slow and just like I'm trying to think of like the right word.
Sluggish.
They just sluggish. That'll do it. Yeah, they just look slow. They look sluggish. They just don't look like they're well refined. I mean, I think it goes back to like what we were saying last week. They just don't look like they're like the coaches are teaching them anything extra. Like they're just going off raw talent, and it's not working for them anymore.
Yeah, I'll answer that really quickly. The reason that we look so slow is because A, Herman doesn't prioritize speed, at least receiver, and B, our strength program is ridiculous. It's all focused on powerlifting and maxes. It's not our strength coordinator is horrible. So that's the reason.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. Also, Matt, in what world did you think that Kansas State would be the number one school in the Big 12 right now?
I mean, they have a good coach. I like Chris Kleiman, but they just like got destroyed. So it just kind of shows how bad the Big 12 is right now.
I know.
It's a big. I mean, OU is clearly the best team.
Yeah,
they should be undefeated, and they're gonna definitely win the Big 12 in my opinion. So I would say Oklahoma's gonna definitely take that 1 seed sooner rather than later. But yeah, Kansas State's good. We play them there like in mid-December, so in the snow, it's gonna be hectic. We're gonna lose that probably.
Yeah, current rankings right now, K-State and Iowa State are leading the division at 4-1 in conference. Like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. Tom Herman sucks.
Yep. Well, is there still a path for Texas right now to win the Big 12?
Yeah, if we win out, we're in the title. We control our own destiny, but we're not. We'll mess it up somehow. I'm convinced.
We shall see what happens there. Other side of the state, or a couple.
I'm waiting for them to lose to Kansas again.
Kansas is really bad. That's
I know
not happening this year. It's like worse Kansas than Kansas normally is this year. They got beat. What was it, 52-22 or something this weekend by Iowa State, who's good, but just putting up no fight this
We
year.
need to delete that program from existence.
Yeah, how are they a Power 5 program? But anyway, other school in Texas, Texas A&M, home versus Arkansas. It's the game Matt and I were at. We got to see the great Felipe Franks up close and personal, and he looked pretty good. Felipe Franks throws some nice balls. He threw some nice deep balls. He was working that hurry up all game, and they were having some good luck against the Aggies. Really getting a lot of motion in the backfield, more so than you would typically see, I think, even from their scheme. They must have been watching some of the Auburn film last year. Auburn at A&M. Auburn destroyed us by creating eye violations, getting our players off balance, and running to the outside towards our weaker secondary and away from our front seven. I'm really happy with the way our offense performed. We had run game and pass game going. We were diverse in the run game, had a bunch of different guys get involved. Big tight end, Jalen Weidemeyer, blocking and receiving, tearing it up once again. Really happy with the offensive performance. Defense did enough to win. I wish they wouldn't have let that backdoor cover happen, but credit to their offense. They came with a game plan. They stuck to it, and they didn't stop fighting. So kudos to that offense and Felipe Franks. Matt, you were there. Go at you again. What were your quick thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I thought A&M played really well. I thought it'd be a little closer game than it was. Kellen Mond was good. He didn't throw any bad balls. He didn't take any sacks, I don't think. The run game was pretty good. Spiller made some good plays. The A&M offense did a lot better than I thought it would against Arkansas. Jalen Catalon for Arkansas did not play on defense, who is I thought one of the best players in the SEC. So I wanted to see him play, but either way, it wouldn't have mattered. A&M looked good. Their defense, they got to Felipe Franks a few times. I saw Bobby Brown had a sack, which I don't know. I feel like Drew and other Aggies have been calling for a McKinley Jackson to take his spot, so I don't know if he has or not. But yeah, A&M looked good. They got their freshman running back in. It looks really fast. A&M did well. We'll see if they can continue it at South Carolina, but they're doing what they need to do right now, just winning, moving on. They should be favored the rest of the way. So they keep playing consistently. They can sneak into the playoff.
We can only
fourth seed A&M. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's possible right now. Cincinnati can get it out of the way. Not sure if that's how that'll shake out once the first playoff ranking comes out. Wilson, were you surprised at all to see the game kind of be in hand the whole time?
Yes, I was. I didn't get to watch the game. I did watch some of the highlights and looked at some of the stats earlier today, but I was surprised. I thought Arkansas was going to confuse Mond. Thought he was going to have one of those games where he looks very, very shaky, throws a few interceptions, but it didn't happen. A&M's offense looked like they moved the ball. They're very efficient. They scored a lot. And I think, 42-17? Arkansas had some trash defensive touchdowns. Is that how it went?
It wasn't really trash. I mean, we let off, and A&M was really kind of just running the ball to milk the clock and weren't really controlling possessions very strongly in the fourth quarter. So, no, they had two solid drives to score at the end, those last two touchdowns. They covered on, depending on where you were looking and when you were looking, they covered the 14, 13, the 12, and then the 11. But the original line of 10.5, they didn't cover that, and that's what I bet on. So I was pretty happy about that. Real happy just to see A&M. I think first drive of the game, we stalled. Heard there was a holding, didn't see anything like that. Heard there's a defensive hold, didn't see anything like that. But yeah, 3 and out to start the game. And then I think 4 straight possessions that ended in a touchdown is really what that was kind of the game defining sequence there, if you will. Just going to Weidemeyer, Hezekiah Jones coming off of injury. He's a veteran receiver presence that A&M desperately needed after Osmond opted out and Buckley out and Chapman being out. So, and then I can't say Jalen Weidemeier's name enough. And then Anais Smith, little Swiss Army knife looking guy, doing everything out there. I saw him in there on a goal line play at tight end blocking. He was there at the edge of the O-line blocking, and he's like a little 5'10", 175 scat looking guy, and he's in there just being a football player. So feeling really good after that win. Even better now that Oklahoma State's out of the way. Thanks, Texas, for doing that. But let's move on to some of the other games that we're not associated with. I'm going to start with one that we were a little bit invested in last week, and we felt pretty strongly about. That's Penn State
Uh,
and Ohio State busy, as we thought they would. We thought Ohio State was going to be in a world of trouble over there in Happy Valley, but it was not the case. Connor, tell us how wrong we were.
yeah, we were definitely wrong. We kind of just what were we saying? We thought that Fields was basically just the whole team.
Yeah.
I mean, we did see a very good game from Justin Fields, but I mean, just it was not as close as we thought it was going to be. We thought that Penn State was going to rally back and finally show that like Ohio State's not this unbeatable juggernaut.
Right.
And Ohio State literally just looked like the big brother who wasn't really trying, and then finally started trying, and then just started whooping them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and like you were saying, we were saying that they were a one-player team, and it was Fields doing everything. A lot of running
Yeah.
backs got involved this week. Deep pass rush was there for Ohio State. A lot of other elements really were strongly in the mix. Pretty much
Yeah,
in front to
the
back.
the pass rush was the thing that kind of shocked me the most because, I mean, like I said, they don't really have that Chase Young or that Bosa brother
Right.
guy who's just that dominant force. But I mean, they were putting in some work versus Penn State.
Big time, big time. 208 yards rushing versus 44 for Penn State. I mean, pass rush was there, running game was there. Either of the Mats, your thoughts on the game?
I'm not surprised. I picked Ohio State before I was peer pressured into picking Penn State. But
Come on.
I mean, Ohio State's just the class of the Big Ten. They recruit at an elite level. It's just every year they reload. It's kind of like Clemson in the ACC. They're just better than everyone. Their second stringers are probably better than everyone. So I'm not surprised that they dominated this game. And James Franklin at Penn State continues to just tread water and not really getting any better or any worse. So,
yep,
my takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was disappointed, man. I really envisioned Penn State coming in there. I do maintain if it was a full capacity Happy Valley, things would have been different. Ohio State got away with one here, but they just showed how great they are. Garrett Wilson is definitely, in my opinion, like the best receiver in college football, or up there, straight out of Austin, Texas. And Tom Herman could not land that guy, so that you hate to see that. But I don't know. Justin Fields is just really good, and this is interesting because now with Trevor Lawrence missing a second straight game against Notre Dame, if Fields can keep on balling out, you might be able to take the lead in the Heisman, which is weird because Trevor's been so good and Fields hasn't played much. But you know how people
I don't think he can win it, Trevor.
Yeah.
Missing this Notre Dame game, I don't think he can win it.
Yeah. So I don't know who leads because Mac Jones has been great, but Justin Fields is just starting. So the Heisman situation's weird, but yeah, overall Ohio State did what they do, and that's their toughest test, I believe, all season because Michigan looks like they're frauds now. So looks like Ohio State might have some smooth sailing unless they have to play Wisconsin in the title game the rest of the way until they get to the playoff.
Yeah, and I'm kind of worried about Wisconsin getting their season going after the.
Should we talk about the Michigan game next?
In a second, yeah. I want to comment one more time on Ohio State.
Okay.
From what I saw in that game and the Week 1 game, they're clearly the best team in the Big Ten. Big Ten's kind of all over the place right now. Wisconsin seems to be the second best team, but who knows what's going to happen going forward there. I mean, they have so little time, so little room for error with the COVID stuff. I think Alabama and Clemson are still head and shoulders over them. They've kind of showed their best. I feel these first two games they've played good games, right? You would say they've played pretty well, and I still see just a little bit more speed and talent on the Alabama and Clemson side of things. Just more weapons, more elite weapons. I mean, that's just kind of my early perception on the situation. I mean, they're clearly three teams that are more than likely going to end up in the playoff. And then going on Trevor Lawrence, he has the potential to go down to be the best player not to win the Heisman, doesn't he? I mean, he hasn't. I mean, he might.
Peyton Manning never won.
Yeah, and there's a lot of similarities between them two. Not to mention they work together. But yeah, it'd be pretty sad to see Trevor get out of college before winning the Heisman. Seems like he'd be the kind of guy to deserve it. But yeah, Connor, you wanted to comment on the Michigan game. Sparty coming through, making me some money. That was my last minute noon bet. Matt Connor, what'd you think?
So I've long had this perspective that of all the big name schools, Notre Dame is the worst big name school. I'm changing that to Michigan. Michigan, like they didn't look good at all. I mean, they just got thoroughly dominated by what I thought was an inferior Michigan State team. Like, I mean, it was just rough to watch that game.
I like me some Rocky Lombardi. That the Michigan State quarterback, he looks pretty good.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he did. Yeah,
might have made him look a little bit better.
yeah, I think they might have. Yeah, no, that game was just was not good to watch. Like, as big of a school and as big of a program as Michigan is, and like all the history behind that, like this like current regime under Harbaugh just is not doing it any justice. I mean, they're always super hyped up and through like the preseason, and then once the season gets rolling around, they just start shitting the bed, and they just can't put it together. And it sucks to see that, I guess, because Michigan's such like a storied school. But yeah, I mean, they just got mollywopped by Michigan State. I thought Michigan State looked so dominant over them.
Kind of crazy how it happened. Matt, you were commenting on how Harbaugh can't get it done against rivalries, and here's another rivalry where they couldn't do it. Your thoughts on the game, Matt Myers?
Yeah, mainly I was looking at this game through the Jim Harbaugh perspective. He can't win rivalry games. It's really I feel bad for him. Like they showed him after the game just looking just defeated, sad, and Michigan State was going crazy, and it's just like, oh, here we go again. As soon as they went down 7-0, you could just see that in the Michigan team. Like, is this going to happen again? And it did. I don't know what is wrong with that program. I mean, Michigan, like Harbaugh, he's raised the floor big time, but he just cannot beat those rivals, and that's what it comes down to. Ohio State's going to kill them also this year, but Michigan State's in year one of Mel Tucker, who I think is going to be a good coach, and it's just still like, and Michigan State came off a loss to Rutgers. I think maybe Michigan was reading into the hype too much. They blew out Minnesota, and Michigan State lost to Rutgers, and they were just totally overlooking their rival. But yeah, that was very disappointing. I was finally excited. Like it looked like Joe Milton and Michigan had a team that could make the Big Ten interesting this year in the Ohio State game, but nope, it's the same thing. And now we're seeing why Joe Milton could not beat out Shea Patterson last year. In Minnesota, they lost to Maryland, so I mean that kind of explains that why why Michigan beat Minnesota so handily. So yeah, it's just I feel bad for Michigan. They're kind of in the same boat as Texas, but like in a different way, which is Jim Harbaugh. I don't know if they'll try to fire him or not anytime soon, but they're just kind of stuck where they're at. They plateau. They can't beat their rivals, and yeah, it's just you hate to see it for Michigan.
Yeah, you do. And they're one of those those big programs maybe falling down, but no one's really going to get as low as Florida State is right now. So pause before you start dogging on Michigan and Notre Dame. Florida State's trash. Anyway, Wilson, on the Michigan game at all?
I caught a little bit of the end of it. Michigan State just looked better, a little faster. Their offense was better.
Yeah.
It's year 6 for Jim Harbaugh, and they don't like Matt said, he's definitely got them better than they were with their previous coaches, but they're not at an elite level. I mean, Michigan State is year 1. He just can't turn the corner of that program, and it's not going to happen this year. And it's like I said, it's year 6. I mean, is it going to get better next year? I think this is just who Michigan is with Jim Harbaugh. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to get into the NFL next year, because I just don't think it's going to work out the way Michigan fans and Jim Harbaugh want it to. He clearly isn't going to be able to get to Ohio State's level.
Do we think that there's any chance that they can rally back against like Ohio State, or do you think they're just going to get destroyed again? Yeah.
Destroyed again.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost Tom Herman-esque.
They had their best chance 2 years ago when Ohio State had that terrible defense, and then they went and gave up 62 points. So, no, I think
the Jim Harbaugh era at Michigan might be coming to an end. I don't think he's going to get fired, but I just think that he's going to look for a job in the NFL, and I think he wants out.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I like the Milton kid. He's fun to watch. He's a great quarterback. Speaking of great quarterbacks, there's a 5'10" absolute stud just slinging the rock down in Georgia. Caught a little bit of that game, the snooze fest it was. Georgia's offense just looking like an absolute monster. Not Wilson, your thoughts on that one? That was pretty disgusting.
No.
Yeah, like I said, I was this weekend I was in Georgia. I had the Clemson game on my laptop. I was with my Georgia family. Had it on the big TV, my aunt's house. Georgia's offense is just, I mean, it's just embarrassing. They have a good defense, but good defenses, well, they have an elite defense, but elite defenses don't win national championship these days. It's offenses. And Kirby has had Jacob Eason, Justin Fields. He currently has, I think, 2 4-stars and a 5-star JT Daniels on his on the sideline. And right now they're not playing for Stetson Bennett, who's like 5'8", 150 pounds,
60 pounds.
Shorter every time
he can't throw the ball. All his balls get batted down. I don't know. Like my dad, like I was with a bunch of Georgia fans. They were just dejected. They don't understand what Kirby's doing with the offense. They play Florida this week. I will get in predictions maybe in another video, but it doesn't look good. It's just strange to me. The only thing I can think is maybe JT Daniels isn't ready from his knee injury, but I saw him on the sidelines. He looked like he was ready to go. So if that's the case and JT Daniels is ready to go and they're playing Stetson Bennett, there's very little hope for Kirby, in my opinion. You just can't really trust him with the quarterback position, but maybe he's injured. We'll see. I don't know.
Kirby wants his own Kyler Murray, dude. Why else would he keep Stetson Bennett around?
Yeah, he does look like Kyler, doesn't he? I think he looks weird.
No, he doesn't.
He looks like when you ever go watch like your little cousin play football and they're like proportionate and their helmets are like way too big on their shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
Like fall on their helmet. That's what Stetson Bennett looks like.
I just don't know how they can recruit that way and have him as their starting quarterback.
It's comical how so many of his passes get batted down because he's so short.
He's so short.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They just bat his pass down. Connor, what would you do if your quarterback was like that? I would just feel not good about our chances versus any good.
I'd pick him up. I'd put him on my shoulders and just let him throw from there.
Like a superhuman.
Yeah. Kind of like what you were saying though, how there's always that one little kid who just his head hasn't run into his body yet and his head's just a little too big. That's Stetson Bennett. And then there's always that big like 12-year-old who's proportional and he's a good quarterback, and then that's Zach Wilson of BYU.
There you go. Definitely, that's a 12-year-old action right there. BYU's real good. I just don't see it happening with their schedule though.
I don't either. They're looking really, really good. I watched them versus Western. I mean, they're not even playing great teams either. They're playing Western Kentucky and just kind of dominated them.
Yeah.
Wilson looks really good, but like I want to see him against like the cream of the crop, like week after week, and see like how that works for him.
Probably not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
No, it won't. Also, Matt, did Western Kentucky, they have that Maryland quarterback that kind of whooped the shit out of Texas a few years ago.
Yeah.
Pigram, I think. Yeah, he. I don't think he looked awful against BYU, but they just got destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really bad against BYU, but I mean, he looked like a Heisman against us somehow. So I don't know. But then again, Western Kentucky is not the best team, but I think BYU should be in the mix. I know they haven't played anybody good. They play Boise State this weekend or this Friday, which is a top 25 team. They also have San Diego State in the schedule, and I'm sure they'll really try to get another good game on there somehow before the playoff committee starts ranking games and teams. But yeah, I think BYU's been like the most impressive. I know this year like we don't have a lot of out of conference games, so it's all off eye test. And eye test wise, I think I know like the Big 12 is not that good. So I then you could look at BYU and like I feel like in just eye test BYU could win the Big 12. They're super talented in the trenches, and they have good skill position and a great quarterback. So, yeah, I feel like BYU, they need some things to happen. Like Cincinnati needs to take a loss. A&M needs to take a loss. Notre Dame needs to take another loss, or at least one loss. And maybe they can sneak in at that 4 seed. Who knows?
So you think BYU could beat Oklahoma right now?
Oklahoma would be the toughest game for them. But yeah, I think it'd be a really close game. I think they could win that. And
I think it'd be close. I don't know if they could beat Oklahoma though. Like Oklahoma's offense is just super, super dangerous when it's like firing on all cylinders, and their defense is like just good enough, I think. So it'd be a close game. I'd love to see it. Actually, that'd be a great game to watch.
You might. That's I guess a possibility, right? For a New Year's Six slot, if OU ends up winning the Big 12 and BYU runs the table, that
I suppose so.
Not possible. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it. But closing up, let's all go ahead and do our little top 5 performances of the weekend in our opinions. It could be a team, a player, a unit on a team. Let's just give a top 5 favorite performances of the weekend, starting with Connor.
Ooh, okay. Top 5 performances.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Whatever you liked the most. It doesn't have to be anything legit, just something you liked.
So, I mean, I didn't like it, but I respect it. I respect the whooping that Oklahoma put on us.
Good.
Joseph Osai at Texas. That man is just a freak. He does not get any of the respect or the love that he should be getting. That dude is a certified stud and a freak athlete. Who else? I'm gonna give Boston College a good performance too, because they were pushing Clemson to like the limit. I think the only reason that Clemson really won was kind of like what Wilson said. They just kind of ended up outlasting them and out talenting them. They just have the better guys. That's 3. Who else? I'll give it to A&M, because A&M is, I mean, they looked really, really good against Arkansas as well. And then you know what? My 5th one, just because he do this, Felipe Franks. That's just my guy.
He's in mine. He's in mine as well. I thought Felipe.
I'll go to war with Felipe. You know, he actually did look really, really good.
He clearly do this. He clearly do this.
He do this. Yeah.
You do this.
Also, speaking of which, does Arkansas still have the last chance you kid, Rakeem Boyd?
Yes, and he was really good. They have a good.
He did good too.
Between him and the 22 kid, I don't know his name, but
yeah,
they ran a lot on us. And they're actually in my top 5. Their offense is in my top 5 of the weekend. I thought their offense was really well. They really mitigated what A&M's really good at, and that's pass rush. And they just ran away from it and did quick plays. The quarterback didn't hold the ball very much, and when he did, they were able to protect. We only had 4 sacks, which is still 4 sacks, but it could have been worse if they didn't scheme it the right way. So they're in my top 5. I'll stay on that game and keep my bias going. The A&M sophomores, I love our sophomore class. We got Jalen Wademeyer, we got DeMarvin Leal, Anaya Smith, Spiller. Those guys are all of our weapons right now, and they're killing it for us. Number 3, I'm going to go ahead and do Boston College as well. I love to see Clemson struggle 2 weeks in a row. Not anything just for entertainment and fatigue of them doing so well consistently. I love to see it. Sticking with that game, I'm going to also go with Ungalele. He looked really good. I totally disagree with what Matt's saying about Clemson being in the gutter after Trevor
leaves.
They're in really good hands. There's an infinite fountain of talent there. They're going to reload just like Alabama.
Jealousy.
Yeah, I think Clemson's going to be just fine. And number 5, I'm going to go ahead and go with Tom Herman. I love that guy. He's my favorite guy. Got Oklahoma State out of the way, and he's just leading Texas to an extension. He's tying their hands. They're going to extend them any day now. But anyway, that's my top 5. Wilson, what about you?
Top 5. Yeah, number 5, I'll give Boston College credit. I think they're really well coached for first-year coach. I think they're going to be pretty good in a few years. They were up 28-10 at one point, so they came prepared. So they're number 5. Number 4, I'm going to give it to DJ. First starter, first game, we were down 18 points at one point, and he never panicked. So I thought he was really impressive. Number 3, I'm going to give it to Texas A&M. and Kellen Mond, I was really not that big on Texas A&M. I thought they were going to do the usual where they might have an impressive win and come out and look, bad and clueless. But Jimbo looks like he's really getting him in the right direction after their win against Florida. So yeah, I was really impressed with them. Number 2, I'm going to give it to Kirby Smart. He's very entertaining how bad he's screwed up the quarterback position. How he continues to screw up the quarterback position, it's actually entertaining to me.
I agree.
Florida game, that's quite interesting to see what happens there. Might be a lot of mad Georgia fans. I don't know. Number 1, I'm going to give it to Auburn's destruction of LSU. I know we didn't mention that one, but LSU was just – their fans have been absolutely insufferable since winning a national championship game, and they've come plummeting back down to earth.
Yeah.
You love to see it. They lost to Mississippi State. They gave up 600 yards to them. Mississippi State's one of the worst offenses in the country. I just love to see LSU fans suffering. No offense, but their fans are just very insufferable. Maybe I'll like them next year, but it's just good to see them suck this bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is fun to see. All right, Matt, quick 5 thoughts on the last weekend of games.
All right, my first shout out for number 5 goes to West Virginia Mountaineers. They took it to Kansas State at home. They blew them out, who were the leaders in the Big 12 up to that game. Now they're still in first, but still, they really beat the crap out of a really good Kansas State team. Letty Brown went off. So West Virginia making some moves. They play the Horns this weekend. Next up, I gotta give Luke Fickell and Cincinnati some love. They blew out Memphis 49-10, and it's almost getting to the point with Cincinnati where they're going to be like largely just thought of as better than A&M. Like we're already seeing it in the rankings like 2 weeks in a row now. If they keep blowing teams out like this, like Memphis is a good team, then they're going to put themselves in a spot where they're going to be like actually like respected as a 4th seed option. So they keep on winning. They blew out SMU last week. They blew out Memphis this week. So yeah, Cincinnati definitely making moves. Next up, I have kind of the opposite of a shout out. Mike Leach, he got shut out. They got 4 first downs all game against Bama. Couldn't do anything, which is funny because the air raid was good in the SEC for 1 week. Now it's horrible, and Mike Leach is he's got it. He's got like a little dumpster fire going. People are transferring out. Yeah, it's sinking rather quickly. So Alabama shut them out 41-0. Bama's holding strong. Next up, sticking with Alabama, Devontae Smith. He had 4 touchdown receptions, which is really good. With Jalen Waddle out now, he's going to have to pick up some more slack. And he had over 200 yards. So classic Bama receiver going off. Shout out Devontae Smith. And lastly, my last helmet sticker is going to have to go to Joseph Osai. He had, I think I read that he broke a record for like the most tackles for losses, and sacks in a game since Ndamukong Suh, all in one game.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Joseph Osai's literally saved Tom Herman's job for another week, single-handedly. So.
Yeah.
Shout out Osai for doing that and getting the Horns the win.
Yeah.
Osai had 12 tackles, 6 TFLs, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble.
God.
Yeah. And he still gets no recognition.
He's getting it now, that's for sure.
He needs to
pop up more than ever. Yeah, deservedly so. Quick thoughts on a couple games we haven't touched on. Notre Dame 31 over Georgia Tech, who scored 13. Any quick thoughts on this one, Wilson? Just your perception of the game?
Yeah, I think Notre Dame didn't look that impressive. Everything about Notre Dame to me shows like good, adequate, and that's it. I don't think that I don't think that they're elite at any position. I think they're just good across the board. I'm not impressed with Ian Book as a quarterback. He's not a game changer. They can beat us, but I feel pretty confident about that game. Notre Dame's a good team, but not elite.
I would feel confident too. If I were you, I think y'all are gonna probably handle them pretty, not easily, but it'll be a secure win. Quick thoughts on Florida blowing out Missouri after a couple weeks off, or a COVID stuff, Florida's back at it and look pretty good. Matt, any quick thoughts?
Yeah, Dan Mullen is a wild man. He showed up at the press conference in a Darth Vader outfit, and he got in a huge fight before halftime because Kyle Trask took a shot. So,
Dude,
yeah.
I loved watching that. I loved everyone get Kyle Trask back like that. That's how you know like they're like all about their quarterback, and that was great to watch. I loved watching that.
That's a chippy team right there. I mean, I know
That is a chippy team.
I was at the A&M Florida game, and they're talking the whole time. Kadarius Toney just nonstop chatter the whole game, talking to people, getting in people's heads, and it works for them. I mean, clearly
Their offense is good.
Their offense is damn good. And hey, the defense held them. What was it? 10 points. What was the final again? 17 points. I mean, that's better than what they've been doing. So kudos to Florida for getting it done after the COVID stuff. Mac Brown not getting it done. Rest in peace, Mac. They were down, what was it, like 20 to 44 at one point, and then they came back and couldn't get it done. Mac Brown could not get it done. Sad to see it. Indiana keeping it going against Rutgers, 2-0 in the Big Ten. How far can Indiana go? Probably not that far, but we'll see. SMU getting it done versus Navy. Any thoughts on Kansas? Last thoughts on Kansas sucking?
It's just a joke of a program. Should have never fired Mark Mangino. That man was a god. They won a BCS bowl game with him.
That's true.
I'll miss that fat blueberry.
Yeah, the blueberry.
Yeah,
Rest
but
in
yeah,
peace.
Kansas, they're a joke of a program. I don't think there's anything that can be done to redeem them.
There's nothing there. It's a basketball school through and through. Yeah, that about wraps it up for this week. Lots of just learning about the teams we already knew a little bit about. Nothing crazy really happening besides Oklahoma State falling, and I don't think anyone's particularly ultra surprised by that one. That's
Tom Herman extension time.
I'm ready for it. But
4 more years. 4
yes,
more
sir.
years.
Yes, sir. It's music to my ears. But anyway, we'll be back at it this week with predictions for next week going forward. Do some picks and keep this thing going. But until next time, bye, guys.